You know, considering just how well plotted and planned out the Marvel Cinematic Universe might seem from afar, the more you dig into things, the more it seems kinda slapdash together at times. Okay, that might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration. It's still really well done, but every once in a while, some small detail or another will create a minor issue that snowballs out of control, like this one that a few fans have discovered in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. But what is this little detail, and how could it create problems for the entire MCU moving forward? Well, that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this video today. I'll be going over the plot hole that this minor detail introduced, and the larger problems with timelines within the MCU. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Captain America: The Winter Soldier, in addition to being arguably the best film in the entire franchise, may have brought James Buchanan Bucky Barnes back into the fold, but it also brought with it a minor plot hole involving his age. Bucky was presented as a man in his early to mid-20s, who was a lifelong friend with Steve Rogers, which led to him joining up with Cap and his Howling Commandos in their fight against Hydra, a fictional offshoot of German forces during World War II. It was during this fight that Bucky was thought lost when he was knocked from a moving train into a frozen ravine. However, as we all know by now, he didn't actually die, but was instead taken by Hydra and turned into the super-powered assassin known as the Winter Soldier, which is where the second Captain America film picks up. After battling Cap, along with his allies Black Widow and the newly introduced Falcon, Bucky was finally returned to his senses, and he fled the downfall of Hydra to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters and found himself in front of a memorial at the Smithsonian Institute dedicated to the Howling Commandos, including himself. On the memorial was a plaque about Bucky, and this is where the problems start. See, at the very top of the text, it notes that Bucky was born in 1916. Okay, so far so good. But at the bottom, the text reads 1917 to 1944. Okay, so there are two problems here. First, as you probably noticed, is the issue of the year of his birth. This is something that the MCU has actually shown that it has some serious issues keeping straight. I mean, just right here we have two different years, 1916 and 1917, but in other related media, his birth year has been stated to be anywhere from 1922 to even 1925, which, fun fact about 1925, that's actually his birth year as set by the comics. Good to know, but not exactly relevant. Anyways, despite the fact that the MCU has since confirmed that his birthday is definitively 1917, they are still struggling with this. On the set of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, actor Sebastian Stan celebrated his character's birthday with a cake. How fun! One problem though, the cake's candles said 107. But if you do basic math and consider that the Disney Plus series is set in 2023 due to the Endgame time skip, 107 would put his birth year as 1916 once again, unless there was another year's time skip that we just don't know about yet. Then there is the date of Bucky's quote-unquote death, 1944. Now, at first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this, except for one little thing. See, the bulk of the first Avenger takes place in 1945. So, okay, is this all just some minor typography problems? Something that some production manager probably should have caught? Yeah, and pointing them out might be a little bit nitpicky, admittedly. However, this is something that Disney and Marvel have struggled with for a while, which is indicative of a larger problem within the MCU. That being pretty much anything dealing with a proper franchise timeline. Remember when Spider-Man: Homecoming came out, and it included a weird timeline hiccup? That being the statement made on screen text in the film that the events of Homecoming take place 8 years after the first Avengers film, which would either mean that Homecoming was set in 2020 or the Avengers happened in 2008. Neither of which made any sense and actually contradicted something that Vision said in Captain America: Civil War, the film that was supposed to take place mere moments before the beginning of Homecoming. Now yes, this is something that can be fairly easily ignored, or just hand-waved away with some simple retcons. But as I said, it reveals a problem that Marvel is more than likely going to have to grapple with for years to come. See, when a franchise reaches a certain size, when it gets to be big enough, there is bound to be something that starts to become a little bit of a problem. And as long as they are aware of this issue, it can be mitigated. But if timelines continue to get out of hand, we could see some even larger plot holes popping up, which could become a major headache for producers and fans alike.
She's gotta be 100 years old right now.
So are we, pal.
Is this the most fanboy nitpicky video we've ever done? I can't say for sure, but it's probably fairly close. That being said, sometimes taking a look at the minor problems with things we love is the best way to appreciate just how awesome they actually are. And if little issues like this are the only problems that I can come up with, I think we're doing pretty well, all things considered.